For today's movie review, I'll be reviewing the 1990s superhero film Darkman, created by Sam Raimi, before he directed superhero movies such as the Spider-Man trilogy. And the main reason as to why Sam Raimi decided to create the Darkman is mainly because before this movie even was in production, Sam Raimi wanted to create a film adaptation of Batman, but Tim Burton already beat him to the punch with that. And then Sam Raimi was like, okay, so I'll make a film adaptation of The Shadow. But again, someone else beat him to the punch. Granted, that film didn't come out until years later, but still, unable to secure the rights to either Batman or The Shadow, Sam Raimi decided to create his own superhero in the form of the Darkman. And in terms of what inspired Sam Raimi to create this character, it's a combination of three things. One of them being the DC comic book character, the Unknown Soldier, the Hunchback of Notre Dame, and the Elephant Man. When this film came out, it was actually a pretty successful film that spawned two direct-to-video sequels, along with an idea for there to be a TV show about the character, but that never went through. And years later, the Darkman would appear in the comics in a crossover with Ash Williams in Darkman vs. the Army of Darkness, where he and Ash Williams would join forces to battle an army of evil Deadites led by Darkman's arch-nemesis Durant. And rumor has it that Sam Raimi originally wanted to have Bruce Campbell play the title character. However, Universal Studios didn't like this idea because they didn't believe Bruce Campbell could carry a film by himself since he was a new actor at that point in time. So they decided to cast Liam Neeson instead of Bruce Campbell for the title role of Darkman. And my main reason for reviewing this movie is because of nostalgia. And growing up, I collected a lot of old comic books, and I always saw advertisements for this movie, and I was really interested in watching it as a kid. And, well, here I am talking about it. So, is Darkman any good? As for the plot of Darkman, it's about this scientist who, while working on a major breakthrough in synthetic skin, he gets ambushed by this group of mobsters, and he's left for dead. And after surviving his encounter with the mobsters, he discovers that he could use his leftover technology for his synthetic skin and become like this vigilante master of disguise to get back at the people who basically left him for dead. In terms of what I liked about Darkman, the pacing's pretty good, the acting's pretty good, I liked the overall atmosphere of the movie, accompanied by the music, since it was done by Danny Elfman. I do have a problem with the music, but I'll get to that later. I also like the makeup that's applied to Darkman himself, where you don't see him with the bandages on. I just think the makeup on him looks great. And I like how we go into the psychological aspects of the character through the visual aesthetics when we're entering the character's mindset during certain scenes. I also like how this movie reveals information without telling the information to the audience. For example, the secondary villain in the movie has a military background. They don't straight up say he has a military background, but they leave enough hints there to essentially put two and two together and have the audience member go, oh, that guy has a military background. In terms of what I disliked about the movie, the editing for the most part is pretty good, but from time to time it would be really sloppy. And as much as I like the music to this movie, it just reminds me too much of the Tim Burton Batman films to the point where I just want to watch those movies instead of this one. And the movie's fairly serious for the most part, but then there are moments in time where it can be really distracting because there's some movie moments that are really reminiscent of Evil Dead, and some of the visual aesthetics I do find to be distracting when we're doing the psychological analysis for the character. And the main villain really sucks. Like, I barely remember him as it is. Like, I consider the secondary villain more the main villain than the actual main villain. And there are just some characters or plot points that appear, but then they don't appear for the rest of the movie. Case in point, one of the henchmen to the secondary villain. He's a guy with, like, this prosthetic leg that can transform into, like, a machine gun. We only see him for, like, 2 scenes, then he's not seen for the rest of the movie. So for my final verdict of Darkman, remember what I said at the beginning of the review when I mentioned that Sam Raimi wanted to create his own film adaptation of Batman? I have a feeling this would be it, with a little bit of some Evil Dead filmmaking sprinkled in. And for what it is, it's a pretty good movie. And before I give my final rating, what did everyone else have to say about Darkman? Looks like Darkman got a lot of mixed to positive reviews. And for my final rating of Darkman, I give it 3.5 out of 5. So, what's your favorite Sam Raimi film? And see you later.